Welcome to the Caregiving Podcast. I'm Inga.
And I'm Julie.
And long story short, we have Caregiving. We are two momtrepreneurs who have built an in-home care business from the ground up, guided every step of the way by God's care and fueled by agape love. Almost 14 years later, we felt called to create this podcast as a resource for families with caregiving needs. Whether you care for a family member or are looking for advice on professional caregiving, we want this to be a platform to support you.
Each week, we will come to you with encouraging stories of families who have found the right balance for their loved ones, tips for how to care for them and you, and much more. We hope you continue to join us each week as we share in this exciting new journey together.
Hello, Sunshines, and hello, Julie.
Good morning, Inga.
How are you?
Good.
To get everything out of the way
And situated.
Ready,
Yes.
ready to get started for the day?
Yes, indeedies.
Turns out Alyssa just gave her notice.
Yeah, because she's tired of you and your escapades.
I don't think so, but maybe. Probably because I instigate it a little bit. I don't think.
Stirring of the pot.
I hope she doesn't hold us to it. So.
No.
But
we
anyway.
wouldn't accept it anyway.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
So you can do what you want,
And it was
Alyssa.
a 2 week
we
notice.
aren't listening to you.
2 week notice from 2 weeks ago, evidently. So this might be it, people. We'll
Oh, if you haven't had enough of us.
see. Oh my goodness.
Yes.
So we're going to be talking about how to live longer today. Is that true?
It is. It is true. It is true.
Tell me about your bad habits that may impact your. I'll tell you mine.
Yeah.
Exhibit 1, 2, 3. Moonshines
The
from Copper Mountain that I
moonshines.
might have a couple of a day.
Oh, yeah.
I can't even get my rings off my fingers anymore. And I think it's because I drink too many moonshines. So I'm like, my options are get the rings cut off or probably do something so that my hands aren't quite as chubby so that I can try to get them off. But you know how I have like claustrophobia a little bit? It's a claustrophobic feeling, not being able. And I had this ring like worked up to my knuckle. My finger was turning purple last night and I was trying to play it cool because Kevin's family is in town. I'm just like, finally I just had to put it back on.
It's a terrible feeling. That's so funny that you say that because I don't have any rings on today.
Yeah.
Because last weekend it was so hot and we worked so hard that when I went to bed, I was just laying there and I was like, oh, even my fingers hurt. And I had to take my rings off and I just haven't felt like putting them back on. And that's weird because I love the rings I have are very significant to me. And I just, even this morning I thought I should put mine back on, but I still haven't quite
feeling
got there.
just that. Yeah.
And that's weird when your fingers are sensitive.
I know. I'm like, I cannot have any medical, like no MRIs or anything. I can't have any catastrophes until I deal with this. But anyway, what are your bad habits that are taking time off your life?
I don't drink a lot. I don't smoke. And so I think the only habit I have, which I'm working on that just a little bit right now, is comfort eating.
Yeah.
I love to eat. I love food.
Yep.
I love it all. And the other thing that I do that I work a lot outside, but what we're doing is actually getting me a desk that stands up and down.
Stand.
Because I was reading an article, and we're actually going to touch on it today, that sitting sedentary all day long is really a bad thing for besides your critical ass mass. It's also...
Which is an Aunt Janice,
Yes,
I'm pretty sure.
Yes, I stole that
Critical
from her.
ass mass.
And then... going home and then just feeling so tired that you just want to plop down again
And keep sitting.
Yeah, but that's after chores and all of the things.
Yeah.
So there's lots of activity. But after reading that article and verifying what I already know, those two things, my pleasure in eating all of the carbs, and then probably sitting more than I should, even though I feel that I'm pretty active. Those two things are bad.
I have a funny story for you. I don't know if I've ever told you this, but you know how when kids are in grade school, they'll often have like things that they write down about their lives, or like my dad does this, my mom does this, that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Well, you know Kevin. He's like the hardest working guy. I mean, he's never missed a chore in the last 15 years. He works and works and works. So, but when Bailey was little, we had our motorcycle shop, and basically the apartment was above the shop. So he's working all day long and then he's working into the night. So when he would come upstairs, he would sit. So on Bailey's little thing, it said, "My dad likes to sit."
Oh, no.
He's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't sit very often at all. But that is what kindergarten Bailey thought that her dad liked to do. Was to sit.
Well, she wasn't wrong because he loved to do it when he had a second.
It's not as though he did it for long periods of time or frequently. But.
Well, there's a thing now that I didn't read the full thing because I didn't want to know, but they're talking about this generation of kids. It's called bed rotting.
Oh, yes, you were telling me about that.
And basically there's just, so many people are so sedentary and they're just literally, it's like the bed is just slowly becoming
and isn't it
taco.
Like some of them are kind of, it's a choice to just, I'm just going to be in bed today and do all of my things in bed today. Yeah. I'm like, I can't. I think I told you about when we came back from that Palouse show and I was so tired and I basically put myself down for a nap at like 3 PM and got up the next morning. I literally felt like someone had taken a hammer to me. My body hurt so bad. And I'm like, I cannot stay in bed that long anymore. Yeah. That's not going to work.
So that's a horrendous thing if it's truly a deal where our younger people are going to age faster because they're not up and moving and all of the things.
I think you're right. I mean, I think you're seeing that a lot more. Yeah. I mean, thankfully the kids that we have, have the most familiarity with, whether it's our own or friends of theirs, are not, they're more active kids. And most of them are like farm kids or things where they have chores and stuff.
There's a difference.
But yeah, it's a thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So what about you? What are your bad habits?
Oh,
besides the moonshine? Is that your only bad habit? Give me a break.
No, there's a lot of them, I'm sure. I do love the carbohydrates, noodles and bread. And, but no drinking, no smoking, nothing like that. Yeah. I don't exercise on purpose.
Right.
So, and I think we've talked about it a lot, when you're on the farm or we just feel like we're going all the time. And even though like Kevin and Bailey do farm chores, but I'm still doing other things related to the farm or in the house or even things like as stupid as just getting the groceries. Yeah. I mean, it's a task, right?
It's a job.
It's a job. And now we all work for Walmart, right? Because we have to check ourselves out. So which I'm a little mad about that. I don't know. I've not been paid for any of my time. I get no benefits.
Right. What's up with that?
Anyway. Yeah. So I'm sure there are a lot of bad habits out there. I don't drink as much water as I should.
Oh, there's another one.
I'll go on kicks though, where I'm like, okay, I'm going to drink 2,000 glasses of water today. Right. But then I'm like, I think here's my problem. And this might be just life advice because I know it's my deal. If I start my day with water, I am more inclined to drink water all day long. Yeah. And I thirst for it. Yeah. If I start my day with a moonshine or a Mountain Dew or something like that, I'd never think about water all day long. And it's just bizarre. But yeah, I would say that's a bad habit.
Oh, bad habit. You reminded me. I don't drink coffee or tea.
Right.
So it's usually a Mountain Dew.
Yeah.
And you have to be very careful because you can easily have 2, 3, 4 of those a day.
Oh, yeah.
And also the sizes matter.
Oh,
Size does matter. Is it the can or the bottle or the half a liter?
Yes.
Those add up. And I was reading an article on drinking your calories.
I know.
Very, very mindless when you're sitting there doing this.
Yep.
I have been doing keto for the last little bit. So I can have a Mountain Dew Zero, Diet Zero.
No sugar.
No sugar, no nothing. 0 carbs.
Yep.
And I don't know if well, I do know. It's all mental to me that I have to have something caffeine.
Yes.
But I'm hoping that doing the diet, I used to say that life is too short to drink diet. But I'm trying to halfway be very, very good on this keto thing.
You've been doing so well.
Yeah.
Like super, super well. Yeah. You haven't been led astray at all. And we've been trying to.
Yeah, I know. You're really a bad influence.
Most of the time. I did get you that naked burrito.
Yeah, it was so good. We may need to do that again.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's verse time, I do believe.
Verse time.
And I'm going to try to get through this one without stumbling because it's a little wordy, but it's very good. So it is Romans chapter 12, verse 2. And it says, "And be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God."
Yes. So I found more of an explanation on that. And what we're talking about today is basically things that we're inadvertently doing that might be taking time off of our ticking
our
time
stay
clock.
here on earth.
However, we all know that God's got a plan for us,
Sure.
and He'll tell us when it's time to go,
Yes.
right? But are we going to do it in a healthy way or any of that? Right. So basically that Romans 12:2 that you're talking about, so it says, so here's what I want you to do. God helping you. Take your everyday, ordinary life, your sleeping, eating, going to work, and walking around life, and place it before God as an offering. Embracing what God does for you is the best thing you can do for Him. Don't become so well adjusted to your culture that you fit into it without even thinking. Instead, fix your attention on God. You'll be changed from the inside out. Readily recognize what He wants from you and quickly respond to it. Unlike the culture around you, always dragging you down to its level of immaturity, God brings the best out of you, develops well-formed maturity in you. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of the explanation of that you just
verse,
read.
Yeah.
So,
well, I know that when you do take like intentional action in believing and talking with God and accepting Him in your life and knowing what He brings to the table, it's wild because I can say it now because she's given her notice, but my Sammy girl, basically she made a decision that she was going to change what she was doing, with her work and really put some focus and some energy into it. And she's just like, God is so good. He is so good. Like she was just getting interview after interview after interview. And she accepted a job that she's super excited to get started with. And I think she'll do that in the next couple of weeks. And,
wow. Good for
a
her.
little more specialized, not general practice type stuff. So, but yeah, I mean, when you do intentional action,
yeah, that's one of those things. Being intentional in your day is a big deal, but it takes effort.
Yes.
Because like today I woke up dragging my hinder.
Yep.
Big time cranky. And I really had to pull myself up from that. Realizing that, you can make it, but my first intention was just to make it through the day.
Yeah.
And then I was just like, I got too much to do and too many people relying on me. You better pull your head out.
Right. I know. That's our school of counseling. Yeah. Get your head out of your ass. You have things to do.
Get on with your life.
Yeah. My biggest thing with the intentional is also being present. So I think it's just because, not that it's an excuse but just kind of an explanation. We always have a million things going on. We get, I don't know, currently at my job, I'm working on a lot of the franchise things and paperwork and documents and stuff that has to be done. And I've got that going on. And then I've got this going on. So it's like a million things swirling all the time.
Yep.
So I struggle at times to really slow down and just be present in whatever is happening. Even as we're heading down to the podcast, Kevin's been out for a couple days because he's been with family and it's like, oh, time out. Do you need us to give you an update before we run down to that?
Right.
Because poor guy.
But you literally have to stop.
You do.
Say,
you have to think about it.
Would you like to not be thrown to the wolves here?
Yes. Yeah. Anyway, so intention and presence are important.
Yep.
What'd you bring for a good news story?
Oh, gosh. We're going to be talking about that longevity thing. And so of all the darn things, I stumbled on something today about Houston elephants do yoga 7 days a week to stay flexible and healthy.
Wait, I want to do that.
Well, if a damn elephant can do it, then I can get off my
there's
sorry
no excuse
butt.
for us.
But literally, it says elephants are one of the holiest animals in Hinduism. Also, yoga was invented in India. Is it any surprise that when that elephants really like to do yoga? Who's teaching these million-pound animals?
Do you think the elephant internally is like, what are these idiots asking me to
so
do?
Excited to stand on my head. So there's a picture that we'll have in the show notes of this elephant. And so it says, the world's largest and heaviest land animals doing a headstand. Can you do a headstand?
No.
And I'm like, well, I can against the wall for 2 seconds.
Maybe.
Anyway.
We should try it and have a listen video.
Or not.
Alyssa's shaking her head no.
Come on. At the Houston Zoo, elephants participate in a static or slow motion stretching practice, much like yoga, for between 30 seconds and 5 minutes a day to help them strengthen muscle groups that stimulate their brains and bodies. During the yoga, the zoo elephants keepers are able to get a full look at their entire bodies from trunk to tail, as well as check out their range of motion. If anything seems off, they'll call over one of the 5 staff veterinarians to check on them.
Oh, wow.
To help them be motivated to move, the elephants are rewarded with a special treat. Now, see, that would work for me.
Special treat?
Ooh.
Do I get a reward?
Uh-huh.
Is it a carbohydrate?
Yes, it is. Whole wheat bread, cantaloupe, raisins, or bananas.
Oh, those sound like terrible treats.
On top off their regular diet of roughage. I would eat any of those.
It doesn't sound like a treat. It sounds like a
if you're
punishment.
an elephant, it's awesome. They can't have a candy bar.
Okay, it's all perspective.
Yes. So Tess, the one that's in the picture, is a 40-year-old mother of 4 and grandmother of 1, is pictured trying to keep limber with the most number of moves of any of the herd.
So Tess is the elephant.
Yes.
Okay. Well, when you were talking about being the mother of 40 and mother of 4. I was like, wait a minute, is that the trainer or the elephant? Okay, carry on.
So cultivating strong, positive relationships with our elephants is crucial to providing them with the best health care. Because when they're up on with their butts up, they can check out all of the crevices, and that's when they do their elephant checks. So... Anyway.
I don't think I want the job of checking out an elephant's crevices.
Well, it's a lot easier than trying to lift up a leg.
Well, this is true. Good Lord.
Anyway.
Okay. Well,
I was like, well, hell, if an elephant can do yoga, maybe I should think about it.
No excuse for us.
But then I got over it.
You guys got other things to do. Yeah.
Yoga schmoga.
Yoga schmoga. I hear it is actually very good. Although my mom tried hot yoga, I think, or maybe it wasn't.
Did she pass out?
Or maybe she just accidentally ended up in a yoga class and it was a disaster. Anyway, she did not enjoy it at all.
My body to do what?
She won't be going back. I don't know if that's because they won't allow her back or no, I'm just kidding. Okay. So my story is about Premier Leadership. Special Arrangements is the name of it. And it actually is from the New Horizons magazine that is put out by FFA.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So basically it's a horticulture program that honors local vets with custom funeral sprays. Courtney Champagne arrived at Silsbee High School in Texas in 2019 to lead an FFA chapter that just needed a little love, she says. Now the chapter is not only literally blooming, but also passing that love to the community.
Oh.
Champagne teaches floral design and runs a full-service on-site floral shop that is called the Tiger Lily with her advanced students. While they mainly serve the school district, they do extend one particular service to local townspeople. This is complimentary floral sprays for veterans' funerals.
Oh.
The program, called Honoring Heroes, is the brainchild of Champagne's husband, who suggested her class make a spray for their neighbor's father, a veteran of the 101st Airborne Division during World War II. He was in the Screaming Eagles. My students didn't understand the history of paratroopers in World War II, so we stopped and had a history lesson, Champagne says. We talked about how some of our veterans don't have a lot of people still around to celebrate their lives. That's the moment she knew this needed to be an ongoing project.
Oh, cool.
She partnered with a local funeral home in August of 2021, and they have served 1 to 2 funerals every month since then. The families are appreciative to the point that they donate to the program.
Oh.
And Champagne, she's actually the daughter of a veteran herself. So the funeral director always has a special spot for their stand, and it is front and center.
Oh, my goodness.
Yep. The arrangement is standard and simple, a wire stand with a grapevine wreath. They have a bow, red, white, and blue flowers, and the veterans military branch with a note that reads, "Thank you for your service." It's also a twofold teaching tool. Students learn the basic floral design skills should they apprentice with one of the 6 florists in their small town, and they also learn the power of human connection. I teach human emotions, not just flower arrangements, Champagne says, how to take something, create, and give back. And I think that's something that kids don't have anymore, how to connect with people. Giving them a language of flowers gives them something to connect with people again. Cheyenne Cooley is a former chapter president. She now understands the power of human connection as well. One of the first times I delivered, we met a family, and to see the genuine gratitude they had for teenagers who took the time out of their lives for complete strangers, it was eye-opening that sometimes we need to take little moments to thank people who got us where we are.
Oh.
Everyone in this program is so diverse. We can all agree that the gratitude unites us, says Cooley, who is now a freshman at Texas A&M, and she is studying to be an ag teacher, thanks to the teacher Champagne's influence. So if I can teach my kids to give back and give them a sense of community, Champagne adds, I'm one step closer to making the world a better place.
Oh, I love that
so much.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
That is so cool.
I love it.
And you know what I love? I love that her name is Champagne.
I know.
Because I like champagne.
That's a great last name.
I don't drink a lot, but I do like the champagne.
Turns out I don't like cheap champagne because it gives me a headache. and I'm a lady. No. But whatever Dana gave you that we celebrated, was it our 10-year or something important with Apaga?
Yes,
that
it
we
was.
It was probably Agape at the time. Whatever that was, it was great. But yeah, I can't champagne very well. I'm basically not very much fun.
We were on the border
But-
of having fun, and you just blew it.
But as we'll, I'm sure, learn, champagne is not good for longevity.
Oh, can't hurt.
Can't it? Maybe an abundance of it. Moderation is probably.
So I want to clarify that, we have done a lot of podcasts at this point.
Yes.
And throughout many of them, we talk about longevity and all of that. But as I went through to make sure that we weren't duplicating one.
Right, yes.
Episode 33 actually was on aging and loving every second of it. But that was focused more on our mental and emotional soundness. And then in episode 70, getting active and living longer was about physical activity.
Sure.
So this one is more on the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Okay.
So just so you know, yes, we talk a lot about things that help keep you healthy, but this one's
A little more focused.
Yeah,
little more,
exactly right.
And
Focus.
I'm sure you all are going to be surprised to know that somewhere in here, I'm just guessing, projecting, that diet and exercise are going to be a thing.
but not broccoli.
That is, not broccoli. No, we had a discussion about broccoli last night at the dinner table.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Why would you ruin dinner like that?
I don't know. I can only eat broccoli at home. I got so sick one time with like this weird heartburn, something or other from broccoli at a restaurant years and years and years ago. Like it was a significant emotional event. Like it has stuck with me. So I can only eat broccoli at home, and the life has to be cooked out of it. Yeah. I'll do it, but it's risky.
Ew. Okay. So basically the good news is we're living longer than ever. And then the bad news is we're living longer than ever.
Right.
So we're going to take it from there.
Perfect.
So basically there was this PhD that was talking about stereotypes when it comes to being older is better and all of that. And it's time to deal with how our culture has changed. Basically the mentality is, it used to be if you 50's the new 40, all of those things. It's older and older now.
Right.
So thanks to advances in science and technology, we've added more years to life expectancy. And so basically there's calculated risk. And so those are the things we're going to talk about.
Sure.
So in the mid 1800s, people lived to their mid 30s.
That is wild.
Yeah. By the 20th century, that's jumped to 77 years old. And today we've gained another year, which is the average is 78.
Right.
And what they're saying is 4 to 5, maybe 6 generations of the same family could be alive at the same time.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah.
I love seeing those pictures, generation pictures.
Yeah. I have a fifth generation one of when I was a itty bitty, very cute little baby.
Is that the one that you put in the brochure?
Yes.
That was funny. Nice.
Yes. So this has happened in part because we've dedicated ourselves to keeping our babies alive. In 1900, 100 infants died for every 1,000 life births.
Holy cow.
And 30% died before their first birthday. So that's
Okay,
40%.
Yeah. So that basically weights your average then and brings it down to 30.
Yeah, for sure.
Right?
Yeah. So anyway, there's been a 90% drop in that
Sure.
now. So basically what we want to talk about is the next goals that this PhD was talking about was the things that we need to really focus on is finding a cure for Alzheimer's,
Right.
Finding a cure for osteoporosis, motivating people to change their lifestyle to prevent chronic disease, and then developing technology to compensate for mental and physical limitations. So those are her recommendations
Right.
on that, encouraging a healthy, engaged over 65 population, and then figuring out what a good death looks like at the end of a long, satisfying life.
That's interesting because with all of the diseases that we deal with now, it makes me wonder, because we take care of people that it's not a great end of life for them. And what would I want for myself, and what would I want for my family members? I mean, thankfully, we've not had family members that have suffered like suffered for long periods of time.
Yeah.
But I don't know that I would want to be kept alive if it was just constant doctoring and machines and whatnot. You know, it's just, I don't know. I mean, and I'm sure that changes depending on how old you are, you know, and if you think that, you know, is there hope to regain or get better or whatever. But if you're in a disease that there's no cure, there's nothing you can do about it, you're at the end of your life, you've had a good long life, well, what do you want? I don't know.
That's a hot topic, and that is a podcast to come.
Yes, it is. Okay. After all, we aren't getting any younger.
Oh, Lordy, every day.
So basically, life extension. So we are just going to talk about some of the promising methods that they've come up with. And I guess there has been categorized about 5 of them. Like we always talk about, nutrition and lifestyle. Just that there's plenty of evidence for the benefits of doing the boring stuff, such as eating right. A study of large groups of ordinary people show that keeping the weight off, not smoking, restricting alcohol to moderate amounts, and eating at least 5 servings of fruit and vegetables a day.
Dang.
Oh, that's a lot. Can increase your life expectancy by 7 to 14 years compared with someone who smokes, drinks too much, and is overweight. Cutting down calories even more by about 1/3, so-called dietary restrictions. This improves health and extends life in mice and monkeys as long as they eat the right stuff, though it's a tough ask for people who are constantly exposed to food temptation. Yeah. I mean, I get it, but less extreme versions of time-restricted or intermittent fasting, only eating during an 8-hour window each day, or fasting for 2 days every week, is thought to reduce the risk of middle-aged people getting age-related diseases. Yeah. That's hard. Fasting is tough. Yeah. And it's all mental.
Oh,
I mean, it's 100% mental, because I can eat, if I don't think about eating breakfast, some days it gets to be 12 or 1 and you're like, oh crud, I haven't eaten anything. We should probably think about lunch. But if I know that I'm not supposed to because I'm fasting, then you're just hungry all the time.
Yeah.
Why is that? It's just purely mental.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm actually trying some intermittent fasting right now. And I've tried it before and I was like, oh, I'll do the 16-8. I'm going to fast 16 hours. But like you're saying, by 10:30, my arm was looking really yummy.
Yeah.
And so anyway, right now I said, that's too long for me. So I'm going to set my window for 14 hours.
Yep.
Well, it gets to be 16 easier because I set myself for 14. It's so ridiculously mental.
So you know that you're fine in 14, but you're meeting that 16 just because
I can eat now, but I'm not hungry.
Yeah.
So the biggest thing I'm trying to do is not eat a lot before I go to bed.
Yeah.
Because that's when you're just laying there and it's all just digesting and accumulating right in your ass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's hard with the work that we do outside of the office, right? Because you have to do the things, you have to go rescue the cow from the pond and you might not get home and have dinner ready until
those things
8 or 9 o'clock.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
We didn't eat till 9 o'clock last night. Yeah. But it was a salad.
Right.
And so I didn't feel heavy bloated with a bunch of carbs or anything. And
that's what I love about that restaurant that I got the naked burrito bowl from. I never feel heavy after I eat there. It is so good.
Yeah. Yeah. No, they're very generous with their protein and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the cabbage is surprisingly good.
Ew, I even ate it.
I know.
And I didn't hate it. I'm not going to go looking for it, but if it happens to be there in that bowl,
you'll eat it, and you didn't die.
I didn't.
Okay, well, anyway, that was like a half of a serving of vegetables for the day. And how many did they say we need?
5.
How is that even possible?
It was like an apple every hour.
Well, basically, whatever. Can you just have a bigger portion of it at dinner or something, bigger portion, and that counts for more than one serving?
Well,
you could drink V8. Do you drink V8? Ugh. Oh, I love that stuff.
Gross.
It's so good. You get a lot of vegetable servings that way. Anyway,
I know.
Moving on, Julie, let's talk about physical activity.
Oh, you do it.
Apparently, you can't outrun a bad diet, but that doesn't mean that exercise does not do good things. Globally, inactivity directly causes roughly 10% of all premature deaths from chronic diseases, such as coronary heart disease, type 2 diabetes, and various cancers. If everyone on Earth got enough exercise tomorrow, the effect would probably be to increase healthy human life expectancy by almost a year.
Wow.
But how much exercise is optimal? Very high levels are actually bad for you, not simply in terms of torn muscles and sprained ligaments. It can suppress the immune system and increase the risk of upper respiratory illness. Just over 30 minutes a day of moderate to vigorous physical activity is enough for most people. Not only does that make you stronger and fitter, it has been shown to reduce harmful inflammation and even improve mood. When we walk, I enjoy it. I love it. Why aren't we walking anymore? Well, the path is
neighborhood turmoil.
Yeah. And we just haven't been going to the mall. It does kind of feel like an old person thing to go mall walking, but anywho, talk about boosting the immune system.
Boost the immune system. However fit you are and as well as you eat, your immune system will unfortunately get less effective as you get older. Poor responses to vaccinations and an inability to fight infection are consequences of this situation. It all starts to go downhill in early adulthood when the thymus, a bow-tied organ in your throat, starts to wither. That sounds bad, but it's even more alarming when you realize that the thymus is where immune agents called T cells learn to fight infections. Closing such a major center for T cells means that they can't learn to recognize new infections or fight off cancer affecting that's going on in older people. That makes sense. Especially, we talk about bugs, be it a C. diff or MRSA or even a cold. We use so many antibiotics and stuff. So that's where the thymus is going, whoa, whoa, whoa. What am I supposed to be fighting here? And,
right.
We're overusing of those kinds of things.
Yeah, that's not good.
So it says you can help a bit by making sure you have enough key vitamins, especially A and D. So that's very interesting. A and D.
A and D.
It's
good.
There you go.
All right. So rejuvenating cells. Senescence is a toxic state that cells enter into as we get older, wreaking havoc across the body and generating chronic low-grade inflammation and disease, essentially causing biological aging.
Okay.
So they did some study on some mice. And in 2009, scientists showed that middle-aged mice lived longer and stayed healthier if they were given small amounts of a drug called rapamycin, which inhibits a key protein called mTOR that helps regulate cells' response to nutrients, stress, hormones, and damage. That's what I'm doing to myself is the stress.
Yeah.
Because stress it physically manifests itself with me.
It does.
Very bad. And you always know.
Yeah, I always do when you walk in.
Yeah.
But back to the very first question we asked each other when we started this podcast, we didn't even think about saying stress.
Yeah. That's a bad habit.
That's a bad habit.
It's very, very interesting with me because it just physically makes me sick.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of information, people, but I will throw up. I'll kind of get this. Yeah. And I just, usually after I throw up, I'm like, just better. It just helps a lot. And as a child, I could not throw up. I would just live in misery because I hated it so bad. But as an adult, I'm like, it's going to suck for 30 seconds and then I'm going to feel a lot better. So just get rid of it.
Unless it manifests itself as a migraine for you.
Yep. But I've been keeping that under control because I also think that my stress response has kind of evolved over time because it used to be the headache was first. I'd get the headache really, really, really bad. And then that would wipe me out. Then I would get sick to my stomach. Now it's just straight to sick to stomach.
So whenever I see you heading to the bathroom or anything, I'm like, do we need to stop and evaluate what's stressing you out?
What is stressing you out?
Yeah, that's my first question nowadays. So clearing out old cells. It's another promising way to go forward. And so they're just talking about removing these cells. And I don't even know how.
It's probably medications, but I think it's medications that are in testing.
Yeah.
So we're telling you these are the promising methods.
True.
So I think it's not necessarily that it's ready yet, but always in production or I guess testing and research and development.
Yeah, and clearing out old cells, they're saying that it's linked to both chronic and infectious diseases in older people. And so figure out how to get old cells out of your body is likely to improve health across the board.
Yeah.
So,
well, I think it's always that way. Just getting getting rid of, even think about like if you're having which I've never had a facial, but I've heard they're great, but even like an exfoliating thing where you're just getting rid of the old dead stuff that you don't need anymore, and how much more rejuvenated you are after that. So
exactly right. Yeah. So
what about, let's talk about some things, unexpected things that we do or don't do in life that actually can take years off of your life.
Yep. Yeah. So
turns out
basically
this bed rotting thing that we were talking about earlier, watching TV for too long. So we all enjoy a good streaming binge here and there, but making this a daily habit, and you could be taking years off of your life. Watching 6 hours or more of TV per day could shorten your life expectancy by nearly 5 years.
Oh my word.
Yeah. Make sure that your TV time is interspersed with active time.
Yeah. Well, like running to the bathroom or grabbing another soda.
Something like that. Doing some yoga with elephants. Probably. Yeah.
Changing sleep schedules is bad for you.
Okay. So I always wonder about the people that do like the professions where they have a rotating, where like for so many days you're on days, and then you're going to go to graveyard, and then you're going to, I do not know how people do that. I really don't. Sleep is like, if I don't get enough of it, I am a mess.
Yeah.
Anyway, so carry on.
Yeah. So too little sleep and too much sleep have clear links to shorter lifespan, but an inconsistent sleep schedule can have a negative effect as well. Going to bed and waking up at different times every day can take years off your life. It's best to have a consistent sleep-wake cycle for optimal performance.
Yeah. Not taking care of your teeth.
Oh my gosh. I hate that very much because I hate going to the dentist.
I know. You'd rather have a pap smear than go to the dentist.
I'm not even kidding. That's how bad I hate it.
That's weird.
Isn't that the worst, disgusting thing you ever heard in your life?
Yes.
But I don't know what it is. It's the sounds. And it's the vibration of my poor little beautiful head.
Yeah. It is. The drills are pretty yucky, and if your teeth are sensitive at all, like I get it. It's pretty scary, actually.
Yeah. But that's a big dang deal. And they say that good set of teeth, it affects your cardiac system.
Yeah, that's the thing. So basically, you tend to think that these bad dental habits just only affect your teeth, but really they can have negative effects overall on your overall wellness. So not flossing or taking care of your dental health can increase your risk of gum disease, which can in turn increase your risk of cardiovascular disease. The mouth is the entry point to the body, not just through the digestive system, but via tiny micro injuries to the thin skin of the oral mucus. Oh, goody. That's a terrible word. It turns out that the blood of the patients with cardiovascular disease has higher bacteria than healthy controls. So try to get yourself on a regular dental routine and be sure to see your dentist twice a year. I'm not good about doing that.
Twice a year.
I know I'm not. I'm like once every 2 years, or if it really hurts.
All of a sudden I need to go see a dentist.
I know. I know.
That's
and it's just, why are they they are just scary. They're just scary.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Did you know that also working? So most people aren't thrilled about having to work all the time, but not having a job can actually affect your longevity. Being employed can increase your risk of premature death by 63%,
Holy
according
cow.
to research from McGill University. Yep. Having a job not only helps you afford better healthcare for yourself, but it provides a sense of purpose and community, which can help lower stress and mitigate the negative health effects of isolation and anxiety. It's true. It's true.
So
I don't think you can just sit alone in your house. I mean, because think about a lot of the people that we even care for, and they're very isolated. We're basically, the care that they get is the only socialization, and it's not great. It's not great at all.
Yeah, I was wondering about that 63%, but that totally makes sense, because if you're on a social program, you're not going to have the extra money to go out and do things,
Right.
or fix your teeth or all of those. And then, like you said, socialization is a big deal. We're going to talk about isolation in just a minute, but that is a big dang number, 63%.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow.
Turns out having a long commute, long daily commute, can have a negative effect on life expectancy. And that is, that comes out of a study from a university in Sweden. Spending too much time in the car or on other public transportation has the same negative health effects as sitting, and can also increase stress, both of which can affect longevity. While biking to work every day may not be feasible for everyone, alternating your commute with more active options could be a good idea. Not probably going to be feasible in rural Montana,
Right.
necessarily,
Right.
but it's, Yeah. I was just thinking about all the time that Kevin spends in the vehicle driving sheep here and there.
Yeah.
Where it's still up in the air on whether or not he's going to have to take some sheep to Texas.
Oh, good Lord.
Which is the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
But also, that's a long commute.
Oh, my gosh. So remember the time we took the girls down to Arizona and we got stuck in 5 o'clock traffic.
Oh, it was the worst.
It was the worst. But we did it one time and we're ticked about it. There's people that live like that. And to go 10 miles takes them an hour or whatever.
I know. Well, Sammy in Tennessee, as she was interviewing and looking for other positions, there were some opportunities in Nashville, but she's like, I don't know that I want to add 2 hours to my day.
Oh my gosh, no way.
Yeah.
That's a
So
big deal.
thankfully she didn't end up going that direction, but yeah, I'm mad if there's traffic on my way home on Farm to Market Road.
I know.
Farm to Market Road. When there's traffic there, I'm mad. So I could not live anywhere that there was a long commute.
I know. I'm mad just even having to think about 5 o'clock traffic. And then I go on a trip and I'm like, oh, never mind.
I know. I'd like to be back in Kalispell again.
Mad about that traffic.
I didn't feel like the tourist traffic was as bad this year. Or maybe I just didn't go the places where there would have been. It just didn't seem as bad to me.
There was enough bad just construction because up here we have winter and construction seasons, right?
Yeah, that's true. And that always backs it up. But yeah.
So.
Okay, fear of death. So ironically, an intense fear of death can increase your risk of mortality. There was a study in 2008 that found that an intense fear of death can lead to 3 to 5 time increase in the risk of cardiovascular ailments, likely due to the negative health effects of stress.
Oh, how scary and sad for people.
I know.
That aren't at peace.
That's the thing, is just
that they're not in control anyway.
Right.
Huh.
I know.
That's not good.
Yeah. So if you're afraid, you need to start working on that because it's not good for you.
Oh, it makes you more miserable.
Yeah.
Taking sleeping pills.
Does that include our all-natural herbal sleep drops?
I hope not.
I'm kind of a peddler of those things now.
You are my druggie.
No, Betty was last night. Grandma Betty was talking about, I don't know. Occasionally she has a little issue sleeping. And I was like, oh, you should probably try these. But she has never in her life taken anything to help her sleep. So we elected not to. However, Uncle John was like, wait a minute, what do you have over there? So we'll see. I'm sending him with a bottle of it. That stuff is the best.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I think so too. So although adequate sleep is important for a long life, taking sleeping pills regular can make you 4.6 times more likely to die earlier than people who do not take sleeping pills. The higher the dose, the higher the risk. This effect is due to the dangerous chemicals found in sleeping pills, including
benzodiazepines.
Once a podcast, I have to spit out a long word and it's hard. Barbiturates and sedatives.
So I'm wondering if they're talking about more of that prescription type.
Absolutely.
Well, I was in a very bad habit of taking like Tylenol PM a lot. And then I would wake up with just weird headaches. Yes. And just not. So then when I found those Monate sleep drops, it changed things drastically for me.
Oh yeah. I always feel like if I've got like sniffles coming on, all I want to do is have a really good night's sleep to try to catch before I start getting any sicker. And so I was always doing NyQuil.
Right.
And I dig the NyQuil, but man, it's hard to wake up the next morning.
Yeah.
And I hate that worse.
Yeah. So. I don't think I could do it. Well, thankfully, I don't need to take any type of a sleeping medication. And I mean, it's legitimate. There are people out there that really do need that prescription type assistance, but it's a dangerous game.
Dangerous game.
Yeah.
Back to isolation, spending too much time alone shows that people that lack that social interaction and connection are at risk for early death. This was a huge study, 70 different studies, concluded that loneliness increased the risk of premature deaths by 26%, while living alone increased it by 32%.
Oh, wow.
Oh, my word.
That's crazy.
Even scarier, researchers found that the risk of social isolation and loneliness are compared to those associated with severe obesity.
Really? Well, I mean, I think it's very, very true. Isolation and that feeling of loneliness. Thankfully, I have not had that ever. One time in my life, and it was weird. I was in an airport in Minneapolis. I had like 10 minutes of just this overwhelming sense of like sadness, loneliness, and I can't explain it, but I did not like it, and I decided I was never doing that again.
Oh my word.
But yeah, very bizarre.
So basically what happens then is you're back to that comfort food. And comfort foods are the ones that are heavy in calories and all of the
like
things that
Twinkies and Ding Dongs and
and I'm thinking about
biscuits and gravy
pizza and all of the things I love.
Yes.
Yeah. You sit more than you stand. This is what I was talking about earlier to you. Sitting is unavoidable in the workplace unless you have one of those cool standing desks. But the time you spend hunched in front of your computer really adds up. And so basically, it's associated with greater risk of all types of death rating from increased risk of cardiovascular disease. It all boils down to your heart. Getting up, making the blood move around, and keeping your heart in good shape. So you are what you eat. Here we go. Here we go. We talk about it every podcast. Processed foods. And that's one of those things where basically we get at least a third of our calories from processed. And that's things like chicken nuggets, breakfast cereals, instant noodles and soups, energy bars and drinks, packaged snacks. And any foods made from industrial processing had a 14% higher chance of early death. And it freaks me out sometimes. I'll look at an expiration date and it's good on the shelf for 5 years. And I'm like,
how? What's in there?
That can't be right.
Oh, I know.
And it's scary.
I've actually started taking more of an interest and paying more attention to expiration dates, especially in the refrigerator.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, this has been in here since 2019.
Oh, good
It's
Lord.
probably time to throw it away. That's embarrassing to admit to, but
no,
we didn't eat it, but we did throw it away.
So my daughter's home for a little bit from college, and I said, is there any chance you would take these two pantries or cupboards and get rid of all of the expired stuff? And but then my husband, he's like, oh no, look what's in the garbage, look what she threw away. And I go, that's from 2006 and it's now 2023. I'm pretty sure we can get rid of that.
Yeah, we haven't eaten it since 2006.
So I'm just like, Callie, you got to clean out the fridge, but just get rid of the garbage before Dad comes home.
Get rid of the evidence.
Because I don't want to hear about it. And then I always just turn to my dear, darling husband and say, if you would like to eat that, I'll be happy to make it for you.
There you go.
You know, that if you get the old Giardia or what
the
are all
shits?
The shits.
It's not on me, baby.
It's not on me. You insisted on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm the worst about any kind of expiration dates.
I know. I'm trying to be better about it.
And the one that worries me more so than that is the homemade canned stuff that you have to be so careful with botulism. You know, but people are very frugal with their canned items, and it can easily be in there for a couple of years.
Yeah. Oh, Kevin actually will be like, oh, it's fine. It's fine. Like, he doesn't press me if I throw it away, but he's like, it'll be fine. I'm like, I don't think it will. Yeah. I'm not willing to risk it.
I'm not comfortable with this.
So alcohol disorder, there's I'm sure continual research on it, but basically it's been studied and put out there that if you're drinking so much that you've been hospitalized for alcohol use disorder, you could be cutting your life short by as much as 28 years.
Oh, holy shnikes.
Yeah. The leading health experts at the Mayo Clinic say symptoms of alcohol use disorder include strong cravings, high anxiety, sweating, trembling, nausea, giving up things you love to drink, and developing a high tolerance. Another study published says that regularly consuming alcohol was linked to a greater risk of heart failure, stroke, aneurysms, and death, regardless of the gender of the person drinking. And then according to calculations, adults who drink 7 to 14 drinks per week may be shortening their lives by 6 months. Adults who drink 14 to 15 drinks per week may be shortening their lives by 1 to 2 years. And heavier drinkers who consume in excess of 25 drinks every week may be shortening their lifespans by 4 to 5 years.
And that's just what you're doing to your own body. But when I had my little stint in the ER, I guesstimated that probably drinking in general caused 60 to 70% of the emergency room visits because of a car accident or because of whatever, domestic abuse.
Oh, yeah.
And it was that was, in my humble thoughts, was if we could just get rid of the dependency of alcohol, it would really help not only physically,
right,
but also socially.
Well, yeah, and the impact that it has, not just on you, but everything outside of you. Yeah.
Yeah, because, if you're in a domestic abuse situation because of alcohol,
right,
they say one of the biggest times of the year for domestic abuse is on the Super Bowl, because people get hammered while they're watching the show, and then if their team loses,
then they lose it.
They lose it.
Yeah.
I mean, how
That's
sad
wild.
is that?
I know.
So
I thank the good Lord above that I do not really have that, other than my Copper Mountain moonshines that don't have alcohol, but definitely have caffeine and sugar. Other than that, I just don't have a really addictive personality. So thankfully,
yeah.
But it's hard for people that do.
It's really sad. It's a terrible demon to have for any of that kind of stuff. And it's just one of those things that you have to individually work on. I could have been very, very addictive because I do come from a background of, having family members with addiction issues. Thankfully, I don't have them now. I always threaten to say that I need to go get ripped, but I'm too scared of a hangover.
I just don't really enjoy it anymore. I do not like the feeling of feeling out of control of myself at all.
That's huge. That's huge, and that's a blessing.
Yeah, I agree.
The last one we're going to talk about is salt intake.
Oh,
because they are, once again, that all goes right to the old cardiovascular, and what's not better than a big old hot mound of French fries loaded with the sodium.
Or movie theater popcorn. With butter.
The best.
Yeah. Apparently I'm expecting that you're going to tell me that it's not good in an abundance of that.
I was just going to say
moderation, the
big M word, man. Yeah. And spice up your life. They talk about how spices actually are good for you.
Right. There's a lot of spices that are have really, really healing qualities, right?
Oh, man. And I love chili peppers, and I'm very, very liberal with them.
Yes.
And I like to have just a kick.
Yeah. A kick that would kill me.
My husband freaks
it's a
out.
little spicy.
Yeah. I don't add a lot of spices into Mike's.
Right.
And then I take mine and I just load it up.
You take those chili pepper flake thingies.
I do.
And
I have a big thing of that. And I love them so much. And but it says that it helps with anti-obesity, antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, anti-cancer, and anti-hypersensitive effects. So I should be absolutely perfect.
You are practically
pretty
perfect.
darn close.
Pretty darn close.
As we all know, absolutely delightful.
Yes, perfectly delightful. I don't know why anyone would ever say you're not.
Especially you. So, like we said, the good news, we're living longer than ever. The bad news, we're living longer than ever.
Yeah. So take care of yourself, at least try.
Yeah.
And I would think that, just don't kill yourself to do everything all at once. But if you can make, the biggest thing is making small changes that are sustainable.
Yeah. Something that we didn't talk about is smoking. That's a big bad deal.
Yep.
But what's so interesting about that is the second you quit smoking, your body starts to fix itself. And depending on how long you've been smoking and how much, it's not going to fix it all.
Right.
But it's certainly, and there are things that get damaged that can't be reversed, but it will fix whatever. Your body's trying to do a good thing, and we're working against ourselves.
Our bodies, they want to be healthy, right? They want to be, it's not natural for them to not be. So they're going to try to fix what we do to wreck them. Yeah.
That.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, I forgot to say earlier on, if you have any verses or good news stories, please email those to the caregivenpodcast@gmail.com and go and subscribe if you haven't already. And Julie, what did you bring for a grandma saying?
That dog won't hunt.
Ooh. I don't think I've heard that before.
Yeah, right? This would be considered the polite way of saying that someone is lying.
Oh,
You
that
didn't
dog
think
won't
it was
hunt.
going to go there, did you?
I did not.
It stems from the deep south where coon hunting dogs were, and in some places are still very prized. If a dog trailed a rabbit instead of a coon, it was said to be a lying dog because they were expecting to have a raccoon.
Right.
And it was a rabbit. So anyway, if it was a pattern, it was considered no good for hunting or good for nothing liar.
That dog
They
won't
take
hunt.
their hunting
Good for
very
nothing liar.
seriously.
That's
Oh.
interesting. I love that. I had not heard that before, but I like it.
Yeah, that's not one that we use. That was deep south, not high north.
A good for nothing liar.
Yeah, that dog won't hunt.
Love it. All right. I think we've done all the damage we can do today.
Lord
So
almighty.
peace out, Girl Scouts.
Have a good day.